Good afternoon, my globe-worshipping, vaccinated, round-earth sheeple. This is Nick with Mystic Mind Shrine. I just got second place with Pure Zoodiac in 2022. I am playing going first, despite the deck not having any Trident. But bear with me. I am crazy, but there's a method to the madness. So let's show you the profile. I start off with 3 Whiptail. I think Whiptail is the best Zoodiac. That's why he's the only one I play at 3 copies. Again, bear with me, guys. Whiptail is the best one because you can attach him to your other zoos, and it's not a once per turn. So you can use this to make your Zeus a lot bigger, and it plays under Nibiru. And also the banish effect can get over monsters that are heavily protected. So I do think this is the best one. It also allows you to accumulate quite a bit of attack on your Borbo, so you can poke for game with like 2,800 attack sometimes. So 3 Whiptail, he's the best one. And I play 2 Ram. Ram's also really good. He's good into like a board of Fog Blades or something because he gives the zoo monster that he's under the effect to he can detach if you get targeted by a trap and negate the effect. So this allows you to play into some back row like punishments and fog blades, stuff like that. So I like him at 2. And then I also play 2 Thoroughblade. So I slimmed down on the zoo ratios a little bit just because this is a going first deck and all of these zoo cards are relatively weak going first. This one's just the highest attack one. He doesn't really do any. I mean, sometimes that draw effect, because he can draw you a card by pitching a Zoodiac. Sometimes that'll come up and save you a game every once in a while. But a lot of times I just don't activate it so as not to get gammaed or ogred. So I play one more zoo monster, and that is of course the limited to 1 Rat Pier. He's okay. Like, the main reason I even play him at all is so that I can make the turn 1 play that gives you a lot of floating power, which is where you make the Vespinato Xyz, and then you also summon the Ram, so that gives you 2 floaters going first. So that's what Rapier's in there for, just another going first play. And the main reason I had to slim down on the zoo monsters to make this a going first deck was to fit in the 3 border. The format shifted a little bit from away from Despia and stuff like that to now there's a lot more Sword Soul, you know, some combo decks, Punk. Border was a little bit weak to Despia because they just fusion summon and make something bigger than him. But with Sword Soul, that deck kind of loses to Border. They can't summon a Tenyi, they can't activate any Sword Soul effects. And then the Punk deck, they can lose to it too because normal summon the Xiamen or E-Telly into it and they don't get its effect. So Border's really good. Border helps me go first. And then I play a massive hand trap lineup. So 3 Ash. Ash is just broken. I'm still playing the 3 Bell. Bell is pretty good. It's good against all the control matchups. The format's shifting to be a little bit more combo oriented, but there's still a lot of control decks in Eldritch. Having these 2 in the main deck against Eldritch is just a godsend because you can keep belling the Sanguine and ashing the Sanguine. So I think Bell was actually pretty good. I still think he's worth keeping in the main. Even against Despia, they have to open Branded Lost. If they don't open it, then you can Bell pretty much everything they try to do. And then I played triple Nib in the main deck. Nib is coming back into the format with all the Punk decks and Therions and Plants and ABCs. Nib's gotten a lot better, and Nib was really good tonight for sure. I did not regret playing him in the main deck at all. And then the last monster hand trap is 3 Shifter. Of course, Zoodiac, we don't really use the graveyard at all. Any deck that can play Shifter should, and all my hand traps you'll notice work under Shifter. So 12 monster hand traps. Spoiler alert, we're playing a trap that's also a hand trap. So 15 total hand traps would be in the deck. Helps me go first, helps me go second. Speaking of helping me go first, here's the extra spicy spice for going first. Heat Wave. You guys don't know what Heat Wave does? It basically just says at the start of your main phase 1, you activate it, and neither player can summon an effect monster until the end of your opponent's next turn. So My friend Mike, you know, the other guy on the channel, Mystic Mind Shrine, he always calls this deck going third Zoodiacs, because basically when I open this, I just activate it, you pass turn right back to me, and then I Zeus you with the Zoo next turn. Every time I resolve this card, it won me the game. There's just no counterplay to it. It's the best way to just go first, blank your opponent's turn. You have to have like a strike. If you don't have a strike and you just set a monster, I'm going to make a 6 or 5 mat Zeus, and then you're gonna lose. So Heatwave is the best card for going first. Very cheesy, but that's what we do here. And speaking of cheese, speaking of the Swiss cheese here, we got Engage and Triple Eagle Booster. This is to protect your Borbo or Zeus, and this is really one of the most unfair things the deck does, because once you have like a 5 mat Zeus backed up by an Eagle Booster, it's pretty rough for anybody to deal with, because it's unaffected by all card effects and it has 2 board wipes. And it's pretty funny too, because a lot of times I'll play Engage and people will ash it, and it's like, okay, you know, that doesn't do anything. Or they'll be confused when I activate Shifter and then Engage, and then my Engage is banished. Like, what's this guy doing? It's literally just there to search the Eagle Booster. Eagle Booster is not great going first. It's pretty much just good going second, but holy crap, is it good going second. It helps you force your way through boards, and it's great. I've played 2 Desires. We got 1 Desires back off the list. It doesn't hurt this deck at all to banish cards. Everything's, you know, multiple copies, or all we need to do is draw a Zoo monster, basically. So Desires is great. And then the other thing we got off the ban list was a second Tenki. Tenki's one of those cards, it's like, you almost don't even need to play it. I was definitely considering just dropping it for more Zoo names, because I've seen people do that. But I do like the versatility of being able to grab whichever Zoo name I want. It can be, you know, Whiptail, it can be Ram, it can be Thoroughblade if I need more damage. So I like Tenki. The only problem is when you get ashed on, it gives your deck a choke point that it otherwise wouldn't have. But I find that I almost always draw either Desires or more Zoo names. So yeah, Tenki being ashed usually doesn't stop me. So yeah, we got a couple things off the ban list. Sadly, no Dryden though. If I just had 1 Dryden, man, oh my goodness. I play the 1 Called By. This deck, like I mentioned, doesn't really lose to hand traps, but Called By is still just so good, and it literally won me my last round today. My opponent activated Albion to try to fusion summon using materials in graveyard. I Called By his only Fallen of Albaz, so he had to fuse and make something weird. I think he ended up making a Quiritis, which was not what he wanted to make, since I interrupted him. And then next turn, I Zeused his Quiritis. Of course, Quiritis floated into Fallen of Albaz. He activated the effect of Fallen of Albaz, paid cost to discard a Veiler, and then tried to fuse my Zeus away. And I was like, oh, it's actually negated because Called By resolved on that last turn. So Called By banishing the Fallen of Albaz beat 2 interactions and won me the game. So Called By just, even if it's not for hand traps, it's still such a good card. The fact that it negates for, you know, 2 whole turns is ridiculous. I played D-Fissure for going first and Macro for going first. They're still pretty good, you know. This also helped me in the game against the, it was branded Cyber Dark and Cyber Dragons, that whole pile. That's the game where the Called By won me the game, but this also won me one of those rounds because he couldn't contact fuse my Zeus away under Macro, which is a useful little ruling to know. So yeah, more Floodgates for going first. Too bad Imperial Order is not legal. We definitely were playing this in the main before. And then the last 3 cards in the main deck is the triple Imperms. Yep, we're playing 15 hand traps in the main. Imperm, even with Verte out of the format, it's just really good. Mostly because you can draw it as a 6th card or just hold it until your turn and turn off some Floodgate monsters or barrier statues, stuff like that. Imperm's great. And then the extra deck, we're starting off with the triple Chakanine. This is the best Zoodiac monster next to Borbo. Borbo is the best one because Zeus exists, but you can make some cool plays with Chakanine. Sometimes you can push for a little extra damage by reviving something. So he's good. I mean, that effect doesn't come up that much, but occasionally. And then Borbo, yeah, Borbo's the best one just because he's the Zeus enabler. His other effect literally never comes up. I sort of don't even remember what it does because it just never comes up. That's pretty much a theme with the zoo extract monsters is their secondary effects don't come up that much. Same with Tiger Mortar. He's just another name, really. Very rarely that material attached does come up. Like, you could give your Zeus an extra material. So, it's niche, but, you know. And then we play 2 Donkey Kong here. I wish I could play a third one of this because I like having as many zoo names as possible just to continually make massive Zeuses. So I would definitely play a third one if I had room. However, I needed to cut one for this card, which is Vespinato. This card can be a good going first play because he floats when destroyed. He also helps push for battle damage and just give you some board presence. And he does piercing damage. So he's basically an honorary zoo monster because you just overlay him on top of another Zoodiac. Yeah, Vespinato. I only play the one though. He never comes up at multiples. I've never wanted more than one of those. And then the win condition of the deck, literally, the win condition is Zeus. This card is so silly and so fun. Making this guy and give him like 8 materials, 6 materials, and then having an Eagle Booster to back it up. Yeah, people scoop so quickly once they see that. Zeus was just so ridiculous today. This deck felt so unfair. I thought this deck was a lot worse than it is. I ended up doing really good with it just because Zeus is such a hell of a card. What a load of fun playing that. Side deck. 1 Pank. Just a little bit more going second power in the side. I think Pank got a lot better with Despia falling out of the format just a tad. This card trades really well with Sword Soul boards. Yeah, man, it's just, you know, bait 2 interactions for free. Why not? And then Mystic Mind Shrine. We played Triple Mystic Mind in the side, not the main, because this is a going first Zoodiac deck. I know, it's crazy, but it worked. And we side the Mystic Mind because a lot of times people won't expect the back row because I don't really play that much back row in the main deck. Like, you know, even my Floodgates are Heat Wave and Border. So you wouldn't really be expected. So a lot of times people would just totally neglect to side in Twisters. And that won me one of my games earlier. My opponent was playing Dragon Link. He, you know, searched his whole deck, made a bunch of combos, and then he made Borderland Dragon, and I had to deck him out under Mystic Mind. I didn't want to, but I couldn't beat Borderland Dragon, so I kind of had no choice there. And then we play the triple Dark Rulers so that Mystic Mind sticks. This card is just so good, this format. Like, against my Sword Soul game, he made, like, 5 negates on 4 or 5 big synchro bodies. I Dark Rulered, made Zeus, wiped them all, and it didn't take much more than that. Dark Ruler is really good this format with Sword Soul and other combo decks rising to the forefront. Played triple Twin Twisters, 1 Duster, 1 Reboot. That's my back row package. Back row has fallen out of the format besides Eldritch. Yeah, Red Reboot's really good in this deck because you can just Zeus away whatever card they set off of it, which is always nice. Yeah, not too much to say about the back row package. Never really has much to say about that. And then the last card in the deck was some more go first side here, which is Anti-Spell Fragrance. This is mostly for like Despia, and I guess it'd be decent against like Sun Avalon, stuff like that. A lot of times, like going first, the deck just would lose to heavy spell decks. But once you use Anti-Spell, you pretty much lock them out because they set like 3 spells, and then you just Zeus swipe everything they set. So Anti-Spell is really nice. Yeah, that's the deck profile, guys. Pure Zoodiac. We don't need Barrage. We don't need Trident. We're still going first for some reason and kicking ass with it. So, but please, Konami, bring back 1 Trident. You can ban Barrage or keep it banned. Dude, you can even ban Chakanine. You could ban Chakanine and half the main deck Zoodiacs and just give us 1 Trident, and the deck would still be so nice. It would make going first. I wouldn't have to play stupid cheesy shit like Heat Wave and Inspector Border to go first. If you just gave us Trident, because Shifter plus Trident is a board. Believe it or not, that's a board. So, Mystic Mind Shrine, Earth is flat, keep the tinfoil hats on, don't take the microchip. Chris Hansen's always watching you. Alright. Subscribe or don't, I don't care.